morning. I'm Marianne Grobstich, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the staff at the Family Caregivers Center. So one of our tactical plans this year has been to pilot outreach to rural communities. We wanted to know if rural communities around Linn County know about the resources at the Family Caregivers Center. And we wanted to learn about the needs of rural communities. Jones County, Iowa is 25 miles north of Linn County. We decided this county could provide us with a pilot project opportunity, as we knew they had a critical access hospital and also 2 medical clinics within the county. Additionally, both Jones and Linn counties utilize some common services and resources, such as those of Heritage Agency on Aging, an organization whose mission is to assist adults over 60 years of age, family caregivers, and adults living with disabilities. My wonderful companions with this project are my colleagues, Becky Kraffel, and 3 of our wonderful volunteers, Carol Butts, Lori Kluber, and Sandy Daggett. So let's take a look at our adventure into Jones County. While we're waiting a few minutes to have the PowerPoint come up, I would love to just take a moment to recognize Dave and Patty Sherman, who we saw in the video. They're also from a rural county. They're from rural Solon. So Dave and Patty, we're so grateful that you shared your story with us this morning. And if you would be so gracious to stand up so we could give you a round of applause, we would love to do that. So our objectives this morning that we wanted to share with you, to talk about assessment of resources in communities. Dominic just talked a little bit about his experience in Ireland with assessing resources, and that was part of our starting point, and that's something we'd like to share with you. We want to review our outreach project in Jones County. One of the things we talked about, or one of our strategies is, and we'd like to share, is some of the points of asking, giving, sharing, and receiving opportunities that helped us develop partnerships within Jones County. And we gained some insight into establishing relationships with communities that we hope you will also be able to step into this morning. And we'd like to discover what communities care about, because that's what's really important. So a few years ago, FEMA put out a document, a guide to supporting engagement and resiliency in rural communities. And this was a result of trying to approach rural communities across the country as a COVID response and how to assist them. This document has been helpful in approaching rural communities in terms of identifying their internet resources, but just across the board, because we know our country is so rural, and each rural community is unique. And so how do we learn about those? So when we looked at FEMA's document, I thought it might be helpful. I liked some of the language, and I thought it really helped us hone in on some of what we wanted to do in terms of our project. So when we look at rural America, designing outreach and engagement activities that are authentic and right-sized for a particular community make every community more resilient. So you can see some of the statistics that were also part of FEMA's project as your eyes take a look at that screen. One of the statistics that really caught my attention was that 63% of folks living in our rural communities have been living in their local community for over 11 years. So we know they're a pretty stable community. Trust is essential to successful engagement in any community, but may carry more weight in rural communities where residents know their neighbors and may be more skeptical of new faces or organizations trying to tell them something about their home area. So the strategies from this document really fit as we sat down as a group and tried to figure out what were our goals and how would we approach this. So very simply, Asking, giving, sharing, and receiving. When you think about building a relationship with anyone, that's where we start, one-on-one, within a community, within a family. So what were our goals in terms of asking, giving, sharing, and receiving? So who are the caregivers in Jones County? What is most important to them? What is your community resource inventory for people living with chronic conditions and their caregivers? Dominic talked about a community resource inventory. What's the community resource inventory in those rural counties? What information can the Family Caregiver Center provide that is useful? How can the Family Caregiver Center assist caregivers in Jones County? In terms of sharing, how do we build relationships with Jones County community leaders? How do we develop trust relationships with caregiving in Jones County? Anyone who's had any connection with the Family Caregiver Center and the Innovation Center knows that's really our core, is building relationships. And finally, where do people with chronic conditions and their caregivers receive care and support? And how will the outreach initiative receive feedback so we know that we've been successful?
Based on this slide, it shows that Iowans spend 295 million hours providing caregiving to a loved one. The unpaid caregiving that Iowans provide would cost $3.8 billion. Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death in Iowa. There are 73,000 unpaid caregivers in Iowa. 66,000 Iowans over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's or dementia. Nationally, 40% of Alzheimer's caregivers die before their care receiver. The stress of caregiving has shown to impact a person's immune system for up to 3 years after their caregiving ends. Slide 8 shows that current stats show that we have contact with caregivers in 34 states and in 90 Iowa cities and 27 Iowa counties.
So, how did we get the word out in Jones County? Sandy and I are the CC team, not Caitlin Clark, but the cold calling team. We developed a flyer, which is up there, and there'll be one at the back if you want to take one with you as an example when you leave today. We developed a flyer, and what we wanted it to do would be attention-getting, short and to the point about what the Family Caregivers Center does, our contact information, and easily interchangeable with other counties, so we could put calling all Benton County caregivers. We targeted any place where people gather: hospitals, churches, nursing homes, other healthcare related facilities, and public places like libraries, grocery stores, police and fire stations, gas stations, even a law office. We blanketed Anamosa and Monticello with our flyers. Our interaction, the actual cold call, went a little like this. Sandy's going to be the customer. Hi, I'm Lori with the Family Caregiver Center of Mercy. They were usually thinking, okay, what are they selling? How much is this going to cost me? I really don't have time. I'm so busy. But once we started with our charm and told them about the incredible programs and services that the Family Caregiver Center offers, they perked up. They started to engage and interact, and finally, they started giving us referrals on where to go next. It's a great experience. but we have so much more to do.
So Lori and I were out there and we learned very quickly the second thing out of our mouths should be, there is no charge for this, bottom line. And then the shoulders would go down and they'd chat with us. In this slide, we just followed up with a letter to all of the people that we met with. Obviously, Marketing 101, keep reminding them that you're there. And because of what we did, and with staff help, of course, the relationships that came out of this included the Jones County Senior Center, which I'll talk about in a minute, the Monticello Ministerial Association, the Jones County Alzheimer's Support Group, Jones County Elder Consortium, and the Anamosa Ministerial Association and Public Library. So good things. This group has also met with those organizations, participated in educating them about what we do. And again, just looking for how can we help the people that you touch? What caregivers are out there that need our assistance? And one of our great referral sources in Jones County is Lisa Tallman. She is the executive director manager of the Jones County Senior Center. Lisa and her staff of 8, we learned very quickly, deliver 160 hot meals every day, or Monday through Friday, in the 577 square miles of Jones County. That's pretty amazing, yeah. So Lisa knows kind of everybody, and we met with her first, went out and just chatted about what we do, again, how we could help her folks. And we did a story about her for our newsletter, you may have seen that, hoping to get the word out about what they do. But Lisa went through her list of concerns. It's always, fund development, of course, to keep their program going. But the third one that she mentioned was, I know most of these people, all the caregivers that I know who either come in here to the senior center to eat or that we deliver meals to need further assistance. So we're using the flyer, we're using all of our contacts to make contact with those folks and their family members to say, we're here. We can do whatever you need. Come see us. Well, almost whatever you need. The other thing that the Senior Center does is they deliver meals. They don't forget the small towns out there. Not like Monticello is huge, but they also deliver meals on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays to the Olins, to the Wyoming Center Junction, which I didn't even know was a town, Onslow and Oxford Junction. So they pretty much know everybody in the county.
Both Jones and Linn County have elderly consortiums, which are well-established networking organizations. And the Family Caregiver Center has been involved in those organizations for some time. So very deliberately, after Carol and Marianne and Lori and Sandy went to Jones County, we brought the Family Caregiver Center to Jones County, and then we brought Jones County to the Family Caregiver Center. So what happened was we invited the Jones County Elderly Consortium to come to the DeWolf Innovation Center and see really what happens in this building and in this space. And there was a phenomenal turnout. So this was the consortium meeting in June that we hosted for Jones County. And typically, Marianne and I have gone to those meetings in Jones County with a turnout of, I would say, maybe 10 to 15 or so people historically every month. And this month when we hosted, I think we had a turnout of 60 plus. So which really showed us a couple things. One is the word is getting out there from the legwork that they're doing out there. And two, people are interested in what is happening here, what's happening in this building, and the support that we're providing to caregivers. So that was very well received. We were happy to host them here.
Marianne, Carol, and I attended the Jones County Alzheimer's Support Group held at the Anamosa Library back in August. The attendees were very open and honest about discussing their situations, their frustrations, their difficulties, and we listened. One person stood out to us. His name is Bob. His neighbor Jim is a veteran who has dementia and other medical needs. Jim has absolutely nobody to help him. So Bob stepped in and stepped up. He helps Jim with his day-to-day needs and is helping him navigate the VA and Medicaid. Bob is also helping him explore care facilities that may be a much better fit for him than his house. We gave Bob some suggestions and resources to contact, and we'll follow up with him. He is truly an inspiration on what caregiving is all about.
Also, as a result of the networking that was happening out in Jones County, Mary Ann and Carol had met with the Most Ministerial Association and the Monticello Association. And as a result, one of the pastors there reached out to Mary Ann and had an opportunity to hear her speak and wanted to know if we could come out to them to do a little outreach on grief and loss support, which, again, sort of a new request for us, but when there is a caregiver, somebody that identifies a need, we want to do our best to try to meet that. So we were able, Marianne and I and Carol and a couple of our friends from the hospital were able to go out to Monticello and present a grief and loss panel in one of the churches out there for members of the community. Due to recent deaths in the community, there was some tragic losses out there. There had been an accident. There had been a few things going on in the community that kind of happened one on top of the other, compounding their grief. And a lot of the folks out there just really weren't quite sure where to go with that or what to do. So we were fortunate enough to be able to provide a panel discussion for them. And again, I think that went really well. It was very well received, and we were able to get connected with some caregivers through that avenue as well.
I just want to say a couple more things about that experience, just in terms of our rural outreach in general. Because as we know, each rural community is different and unique. Each will have different needs. So while we were going out and talking to the communities about the Caregiver Center, their in-reach to us or their request to us was a little different than what we typically were doing at the Caregiver Center. So we have the blessing of the strong arms of Mercy Medical Center to look to help us to continue to support. So we were able to have one of our chaplains from Mercy Hospital join us for the panel, and also our director of security, who is a former Marion police officer. So that was extremely helpful that we are part of Mercy Medical Center that has those support resources to support us as we learn more about rural communities. So I think it went very well. The other piece that I think we drew from with that experience is we know that caregivers go through various stages of grieving. So thinking about the losses that I might feel as a caregiver along the way, my person can no longer do these things with me, or we're no longer able to do these things together. And so when we talk about grief, it's a huge piece to really delve into. But I think we all have those experiences, and certainly our the clergy community in Monticello was extremely appreciative, because while they were ministering to these people, these were also losses for them. These were their parishioners, their friends, their neighbors. And so I think the panel, as well as reaching out to the community, it helped the clergy to also feel some relief and some support. So it was a great learning for us, especially as we move forward and identify more rural communities or what our next steps are with our rural outreach.
And on that note, in summary, we plan to continue. We're a small but mighty group, very much like the caregivers staff here, but with all the volunteers in this room and the ones who couldn't be with us today. We want to continue. We want to continue to get our message out. We want to continue to get the help to the caregivers out in the rural areas who need it. So we're going to continue, and Marianne spoke about our in-reach. Those are people who have reached out to us already. That includes Mount Pleasant and the Vinton through their library, actually. There will be a spring rural church event here at the Innovation Center. One audience that we did not focus on entirely out in Monticello and Anamosa were rural attorneys. You know, attorneys meet with a lot of folks out there and can see when folks need help. So we want to make sure that we are focused on them. Again, the Mercy Rural Clinic outreach is very important. And the county health centers and hospitals will always be very important for our referral sources too. And finally, you all are our eyes and ears. So if you have any ideas about who we should connect with, or are out in the community and meet someone who might need assistance, please let us know. And if you ever want to go out and walk the streets of rural Iowa with Lori and me, you're always invited because we do find fun in everything. I will guarantee you that.
They could do a whole nother session on the food and beverage experiences they've had in Jones County, but that's another presentation. So thank you all very much. It's been great to work with you. So. So I'd like to share with you some caregivers and people living with dementia from outside of Lynn County who discovered the Family Caregiver Center over the past few years. Richard Campagna and his wife Oda are from Iowa City in Johnson County to our south. Harv Robinson and his wife Barb reside on a farm in rural Masonville, which is in Delaware County to our north and east. Both Oda and Barb live with dementia. They have become very vibrant members of our Living Your Best Life group. As this group formed, their caregivers, including Harv and Richard, formed a bond. Now both groups meet weekly. The creative spirit and energy of these groups knows no limits. This past year, Richard shared his knowledge of the benefits of singing through karaoke to the point that he eventually got all of us together on a few Friday evenings with the assistance of a patient DJ, and we laughed and sang together. Richard and Harv have taken this creativity to a new level for us this morning. They have written new lyrics to Judy Collins' song, Someday Soon. They will humbly perform for us this morning in the spirit of discovering that the joy of song and dance is never ending.
Farmer that I know, name is Marvelous Harv. Comes from up in Iowa's Delaware County. Just retired from farming and he's looking to relax. Someday soon he'll be caring someday soon.
Was born in Brooklyn, never learned about the land. His family said, stay here and be a lawyer. But he felt the kindness and then drawn to Iowa. Someday soon, he'll be caring someday soon. But when we both retired, our wives both suffered memory loss. Yes, it's 'cause they were so strong back when they were born. So you old blue northern, blow them back to us. We're riding in today from distant places. We love our innovation place, Marion, Iowa. Someday soon, we'll be caring someday soon. Thank you.